Have you ever looked at your family gatherings and wondered why some relatives leave you feeling drained, disconnected, or even questioning your own peace? As we grow older, we start to see people for who they really are, and let me tell you, not every relative is good for your heart or your marriage. Today, I'm sharing the wisdom I've gathered over decades of love, loss, and learning, the 5 types of relatives you need to keep at arm's length to protect your emotional well-being and the intimacy in your long-term relationships. And trust me, you'll want to pay close attention to the 5th type. It's the one that sneaks up on you and can unravel everything you've built with your partner if you're not careful. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly who to watch out for, how to set boundaries without guilt, and how to nurture the love and closeness you deserve in your golden years. This isn't about cutting people out, it's about choosing who gets to sit at your table, emotionally and physically. Partner, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I encourage you to click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. Your support means a lot, so if you find value in this video, please give it a thumbs up to help spread our message. I'm eager to hear your thoughts on today's topic. If you enjoy the content, please comment number 1 below. If it doesn't resonate with you, leave a 0. Your feedback is crucial as it helps me create better videos that align with your interests. Now, let's get started. Let me take you back to a moment that changed how I saw family forever. I was 68, sitting at a Thanksgiving table surrounded by relatives, my husband Tom by my side. We'd been married 43 years, and our love was stronger than ever, not because we never argued, but because we'd learned to protect our peace. That day, I noticed something. Certain relatives brought tension into the room, and it wasn't just about the cranberry sauce someone forgot. Their words, their energy, their demands, they were pulling at the threads of our joy. I realized then that even in your later years, family can either lift you up or weigh you down, especially when it comes to the intimacy and trust you've built with your partner. That's when I started paying attention to who we let close and who we needed to love from a distance. As women, we're taught to nurture, to keep the family together, to be the glue. But here's the truth I've learned at 78, not every relative deserves a front row seat in your life. Some can chip away at the emotional safety you and your partner have worked so hard to create. Intimacy in a long-term relationship isn't just about physical closeness, it's about feeling safe, seen, and cherished. And certain relatives can threaten that without you even realizing it until the damage is done. So, let's talk about the 5 types of relatives you need to keep your distance from, especially as you grow older, when your time and energy are too precious to waste. Type 1, the critic who undermines your confidence. The first type is the critic, the relative who always has something to say about how you live your life, raise your kids, or love your partner. Maybe it's your sister-in-law who comments on your weight every Christmas, or your cousin who questions why you and your husband still hold hands at your age. These jabs might seem small, but over time, they erode your confidence, and that's a direct threat to your relationship. When you don't feel good about yourself, it's harder to open up emotionally or physically with your partner. You start second-guessing how they see you, and that doubt can cool the warmth between you. I remember my Aunt Clara, God rest her soul. She'd sit at family dinners and pick apart everything, my cooking, my clothes, even the way Tom and I laughed together. "You two are too old to act like teenagers," she'd say with a smirk. At first, I brushed it off, but after years of her comments, I noticed I was hesitating to be affectionate with Tom in front of her. I'd dim my light to avoid her judgment. That's when I knew I had to draw a line. Critics don't just hurt your feelings, they can make you question the love you've built. What to do about the critic? Here's how to handle them: set boundaries with kindness but firmness. You don't need to confront them at the dinner table, but you can limit their access to your heart. For example, when Aunt Clara started her usual commentary, I'd smile and say, "Clara, I appreciate your thoughts, but Tom and I are happy just as we are." Then I'd change the subject. Over time, she got the message. You can also reduce how often you see them, skip every other family event if you need to. Protect your confidence, because when you feel good about yourself, you bring that energy to your partner, and it deepens your connection. Try this: next time a critic starts, take a deep breath, redirect the conversation, and later, tell your partner one thing you love about them. It's like putting a shield around your intimacy. Type 2, the drama magnet who drains your energy. The second type is the drama magnet, the relative who thrives on chaos. Maybe it's your nephew who's always in a crisis, calling you at midnight for advice he never takes, or your sister who turns every family gathering into a soap opera. These relatives don't just take your time, they sap the emotional energy you need for your relationship. When you're exhausted from putting out their fires, you have less to give to your partner, and that can create distance where there used to be closeness. I had a cousin, Diane, who was like this. Every time we talked, it was a new catastrophe: her job, her love life, her neighbor's dog. I'd spend hours listening, trying to help, only to realize she didn't want solutions, she wanted an audience. One night, after a long call with Diane, Tom reached for my hand, and I pulled away, not because I didn't love him, but because I was too drained to connect. That was my wake-up call. If you're spending all your emotional energy on a drama magnet, you're robbing your partner of the attention and presence they deserve. What to do about the drama magnet? Here's the solution: set limits on how much you engage. You don't have to cut them off completely, but you can choose when and how you interact. For Diane, I started returning her calls at a set time, like Sunday afternoons, and I'd keep it to 20 minutes. I'd say, "I've got to run, but I'm praying for you." It wasn't cold, it was self-preservation. You can also redirect them to others, suggest they talk to a friend or professional if their problems are big. Then, reclaim that energy for your partner. Try this: after dealing with the drama magnet, do something small with your spouse, like sharing a cup of coffee or talking about a happy memory. It's a reminder that your relationship is your sanctuary. Type 3, the meddler who oversteps boundaries. The third type is the meddler, the relative who thinks they know what's best for your life and your marriage. This could be your mother-in-law who suggests how you should handle your finances, or your brother who gives unsolicited advice about your sex life. Meddlers don't respect the sacred space between you and your partner, and that can create tension, especially when it comes to intimacy. When someone's poking into your private world, it's hard to feel safe being vulnerable with your spouse. I'll never forget my sister-in-law, Margaret. She'd ask Tom and me personal questions right in front of the whole family, like how we were keeping the spark alive after so many years. It was meant as a joke, but it made us both uncomfortable. I started feeling guarded, like our intimacy was on display. That's when I realized meddlers don't just annoy you, they can make you feel exposed, and that's the opposite of what intimacy needs to thrive. What to do about the meddler? Here's how to handle them: be direct but gentle. You don't need to start a fight, but you can shut down oversteps with clarity. When Margaret got too nosy, I'd say, "Oh, that's just between Tom and me, but tell me about your garden." It redirected her without making a scene. You can also limit what you share. Don't give meddlers details about your relationship they can pry into. And here's a tip: after a meddler crosses a line, reconnect with your partner privately. Maybe it's a quiet walk or a moment to say, "I'm so glad we have each other." It reinforces that your bond is yours alone. Type 4, the envier who resents your happiness. The fourth type is the envier, the relative who can't stand to see you happy, especially if your relationship is thriving. Maybe it's your cousin who makes snide remarks when you and your partner share a laugh, or your aunt who always points out what you don't have, like she's trying to dim your joy. Enviers are dangerous because they don't just attack you, they target the warmth and connection you share with your partner. That negativity can make you question your blessings, and when you start doubting your love, it creates cracks in the intimacy you've built. I saw this with my niece, Linda. She'd been through a tough divorce, and I felt for her, but every time Tom and I shared a sweet moment, like dancing in the kitchen at a family barbecue, she'd roll her eyes or say something like, "Must be nice to still be so in love." It wasn't just her words, it was the bitterness behind them. I started feeling guilty for our happiness, and that guilt made me pull back from Tom, like I was afraid to flaunt our love. Enviers don't just resent you, they make you feel like your joy is a crime, and that's a thief of intimacy. What to do about the envier? Here's how to protect yourself. Recognize their behavior for what it is, their own pain, not your fault. You don't have to dim your light to make them feel better. With Linda, I started keeping our interactions light and surface level. I'd share small talk, not deep moments about my marriage. You can also limit their exposure to your relationship, maybe don't invite them to every intimate gathering. And here's a powerful move: after an envier tries to sour your mood, do something joyful with your partner. For me, it was as simple as telling Tom, "I'm so grateful for you," and giving him a hug. It's like reclaiming your happiness. Try this: next time an envier throws shade, write down 3 things you love about your partner and share one with them. It's a reminder that your love is worth celebrating. Type 5, the betrayer who breaks your trust. Now, let's talk about the 5th type, the betrayer. This is the relative you need to watch out for most, because they don't just hurt your feelings, they break the trust that's at the heart of your emotional and physical intimacy. Betrayers are the ones who gossip about your marriage, share your secrets, or worse, try to drive a wedge between you and your partner. Maybe it's your brother who tells everyone about your financial struggles, or your sister who flirts with your spouse in a way that feels too close for comfort. Betrayers make you feel unsafe, and when you don't feel safe, it's nearly impossible to be vulnerable with your partner. I learned this the hard way with my cousin Evelyn. She was like a sister to me, someone I confided in about everything, including the rough patches Tom and I went through in our 50s. I thought she'd keep my secrets, but one day, I overheard her at a family reunion, spilling details about our struggles to anyone who'd listen. Worse, she'd twisted the story to make it sound like Tom was the problem. I felt violated, and it made me question who I could trust. That betrayal didn't just hurt me, it made me pull back from Tom, because I was so afraid of our private world being exposed again. When trust is broken, intimacy suffers, not because you don't love each other, but because you're too guarded to let go. What to do about the betrayer? Here's the hard truth: betrayers don't change unless they want to, so your job is to protect your heart and your marriage. With Evelyn, I had to stop sharing anything personal. I kept our conversations polite but distant, like talking about the weather or her grandkids. You don't have to cut them out completely, but you do need to limit their access to your inner world. If their betrayal is severe, like flirting with your partner or spreading lies, you may need to keep them out of your life entirely, at least for a while. And here's the most important part: rebuild trust with your partner. After Evelyn's betrayal, I sat down with Tom and told him how hurt I felt. We made a pact to keep our marriage as sacred moments just between us. It brought us closer, like we were guarding our love together. Try this: if a betrayer hurts you, have an honest talk with your partner about how you'll protect your bond. Then do one small act of trust, like sharing a fear or a hope. It's like rebuilding the walls of your sanctuary, brick by brick. Why this matters for your intimacy? Here's the deeper truth: intimacy in your later years is a treasure, but it's fragile. It's not just about physical closeness, it's about feeling emotionally safe enough to be your truest self with your partner. The critic, the drama magnet, the meddler, the envier, and especially the betrayer, they all threaten that safety. They pull at your confidence, your energy, your boundaries, your joy, and your trust. And when those are weakened, it's harder to open your heart or your body to the person you love most. But when you set boundaries with these relatives, you're not just protecting yourself, you're protecting the love you've spent decades building. I think about Tom and me now, at 78 and 80. We still hold hands, still steal kisses when no one's looking, still talk late into the night about our dreams and fears. That didn't happen by accident. It happened because we learned to guard our peace, to choose who gets to influence our hearts. And let me tell you, there's nothing more intimate than knowing you and your partner are a team, standing together against anything that tries to pull you apart. A few practical tips to protect your love. So, how do you start? Here are 3 simple actions you can take today to keep these relatives at a distance and nurture the intimacy you deserve. First, practice the art of the gentle redirect. When a critic or meddler starts in, don't engage, just smile and change the subject. For example, if your aunt says, "You're too old to be so lovey-dovey," you might say, "Speaking of love, how's your book club going?" It's kind, but it sets a boundary. Then, later, do something affectionate with your partner, like a quick hug, to reinforce your connection. Second, ration your energy. If you're dealing with a drama magnet or envier, limit how much time you give them. Set a timer for phone calls, or choose which events you'll attend. Then, redirect that energy to your partner. Maybe it's planning a quiet evening together or just asking, "How's your heart today?" Small moments of presence build intimacy over time. Third, lock down your trust. Be selective about who you confide in, especially about your marriage. If you suspect a betrayer, share only what you'd be okay with the whole family knowing. And always check in with your partner, make sure they feel safe too. A simple question like, "Are we okay?" can open the door to deeper closeness. Final thoughts. As you grow older, your time becomes more precious, and so does your love. You've spent years building a relationship that's weathered storms, celebrated joys, and grown stronger through it all. Don't let relatives, no matter how close they are, steal the peace and intimacy you've earned. The critic, the drama magnet, the meddler, the envier, and especially the betrayer, they don't get to decide how you love or how you live. That power is yours, and when you wield it wisely, you create a space where intimacy can flourish, not just in your body, but in your soul. I want to hear from you. Which of these relatives do you recognize in your life, and what's one step you can take to protect your peace? Drop a comment below. I read every one, and your stories inspire me. And if this video touched your heart, please like and subscribe for more wisdom on love, relationships, and living fully in your golden years. Let's build a community where we lift each other up and celebrate the love that lasts a lifetime. See you in the next one.